Okay, we are on one of the most incredible spots in Italy right now. We are literally on Mount Vesuvius, 600 meters above sea level. It's about 1,800 feet. Down below there, you can even get a portion of the sea. You have Naples down below, and right behind you, you have the entire rest of the volcano. This region is spectacular for winemaking. They've been making wine in this zone for well over 2,000 years. This is a zone that's known for a multitude of different indigenous grape varietals. One of them specifically is called Catalanesca. It's very, very, very little known anywhere because there are only actually 6 winemakers in the entire world that are continuing to make Catalanesca wine. We have a really, really special privilege to be able to go all the way up onto the top of the crater and literally sit on the precipice, on the edge of the crater, and drink a bottle of this Catalanesca together. I'll be there with my colleague, Alessandro.
So, my name is Alessandro, and we are kind of a unique place on the top of Vesuvio. You don't see it, but behind that rocks there is Naples, there is the Sorrento over there, and Capri, a little covered by clouds. Actually, now I can see a bit of Sorrento right now, and there is Capri over there. Can you see it? Right there. Yeah. And this is an amazing place. Actually, Vesuvio is the original name of Dionysus, and it seems that we've been studying a bit the origin of wine, based on the concept that, Dionysus is the god of wine. It's a mysterious god that is not there to save your life, is not there to give you an explanation, or you don't have to pay for your sins. Actually, you have to live in sin, I think. And this is Lindsay Gabbard, which is my colleague. She's the American in Rome. She came to my tasting 5 years ago and never left. And
He's not convinced if I came for the wine or if I stayed for him or for the wine. But
I'm totally convinced that you came for the wine. I know it for sure. There's no doubt about it. But you did it right for sure. And we have a restaurant in Rome, and we scout for new wines all over Italy. And when we arrived here on the Mount Vesuvio, we found a gem of winery called Olivella, our friend Ciro. And I remember that it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
I remember we were like 3 years ago meeting Ciro, where he has vineyards on the other side of the mountain in Insuma Vesuviana. And then there is an archaeological site not so far, which is an old winery from the 2nd century with a lot of these big jars and amphora. And so I told Ciro, why don't we make our own wine? You have to understand that I've been drinking wine for 30 years, and I actually reach all possible stage in my relationship with wine. Sometimes I feel like someone that is like loves chocolate and started to work for Willy Wonka. There are moments where I don't give a shit about wine anymore, because maybe I missed the point that it's not the object. Wine is not the object, and I need to thank actually my colleague Lindsay, because she taught me how to perceive wine as a weaver. So something that is related with the place. I know it sounds a bit of a rhetorical thing that we are here on the top of this mountain and we are here on a volcano. It looks like a cheap commercial. I think like a Dom Perignon did something similar in Iceland when they were actually promoting the Deuxième Plénitude. But this is actually, to me, makes sense because this wine comes from a vineyard that is on a volcanic soil.
Here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm speaking too much. I'm doing mansplaining, but you're supposed to do something about it.
No, this bottle, what's interesting not interesting, but why I love this bottle so much is that it was a creation that, I don't know, it was able to synthesize everything about what we love about wine.
You can tell a lot of bullshits about wine nowadays. When you go to wineries, they always tell you the story that they are linked to a soil and a terroir. Everywhere you go, there is terroir. You go in the worst Napa Valley winery, they tell you about terroir. And most of the wines is made with like wood chips and selected yeast and a lot of smoky flavors and fake stuff. And then you always find some corrupted wine journalists that will rate your wine properly. And so the issue of terroir has been overused. But to me here is even more than terroir. I would use a Latin description, genius loci. Because this connection, these two things, are somehow, it's all about drinking a place. And I actually like to think that there is a bit of us in this one.
Yeah.
Because this one was not so mineral before we decided with Ciro to actually age it in the amphora, which is the ancient Roman Greek amphora. So the vineyards are just behind this. We're going to visit them later. Behind the volcano on this,
Volcanic.
Yeah, beautiful.
Potassium.
Yeah.
All sorts of mineral soil.
So the bet here is, if we open this bottle, is when you taste it, are we gonna, smell and taste the same flavor of the volcano? And so we will figure out in a few seconds. So you were saying
Insuma.
You gave the name to the wine.
So I actually gave the name to this wine when we were with Ciro at lunch. We were trying to figure out, he said, okay, well, what are we gonna call it? We can't call it Summa because I already have a wine called Summa. And we're in Monte Somma, but Somma used to be called Summa. And so I have the phrase I love in Italian is Insomma. It kind of means a variety. There's like 45 translations, but means something like whatever. How would you, I guess, best translate it?
It actually even...
So-so.
So-so, yeah.
And so we said we had no idea what was gonna happen with this wine that we did in amphora. Ciro had never worked with amphora before. And so we said, well, we can just call it Insuma to celebrate where we were and also the phrase.
This
Here
is
we
fucking magic. You broke the sun right now. This is incredible. So,
cheers.
Cheers to you.
Catalanesca. So this is the grape is Catalanesca, and I think there are only 6 producers that make Catalanesca on this. And Catalanesca is only found right here on this exact spot in Somma. In Summa.
The color is incredible. I mean, I don't really care about colors usually, but now here I have this beautiful light gold, slightly orange. Ciro, quanta macerazione fa? How long does it stay on the skin? 15 days on the skin. Oh, because we have the winemaker actually behind the camera. It's there.
Qui noi siamo sulla parte più antica del Vesuvio. Siamo sul Monte Somma, siamo a un'altitudine di 600 metri dal livello del mare. Siamo sul papà del Vesuvio, quindi siamo sulla vecchia caldera. Questa zona è particolarmente vocata alla viticoltura perché noi abbiamo un terreno prima delle ultime eruzioni, quindi molto più antico, dove la parte organica nel suolo è molto presente, quindi qualsiasi cosa noi piantiamo su questo territorio cresce in modo particolare ed ha una spiccata sapidità. Abbiamo una grande testimonianza sul territorio della produzione vitivinicola che risale a 2000 anni fa, ovvero siamo nel 411 d.C. C'è una villa romana in cui il proprietario si presume che era l'imperatore Cesare Augusto. Siamo nel 411 d.C., quindi l'Unità d'Italia non c'era ancora, lo stivale come oggi lo conosciamo non esisteva ancora, ma già in quel periodo questa azienda del 411 era la più grande produzione di vino dell'Italia. La mia famiglia fa da vino, io sono la 4ª generazione. Naturalmente i miei nonni non avevano questa grande quantità di vigne che oggi noi abbiamo. Oggi l'azienda ha 12 ettari. Qui avere 12 ettari è un'impresa importante perché per come è fatto il suolo non abbiamo un unico appezzamento, un unico corpo. Sono tutti piccoli appezzamenti che vengono ritagliati ai cognoli del Monte Somma. Oggi noi lavoriamo su 3 comuni, Sant'Anastasia dove ci troviamo adesso, sul lato sinistro abbiamo il Pollena Trocchi e sul lato destro abbiamo Somma Vesuviana. Io in questa particolare vigna ho passato la mia infanzia con i miei nonni. Noi venivamo qui con l'ape carra a 3 ruote, io giocavo con la terra, con le mazze, con i salici che noi oggi utilizziamo per la legatura e loro portavano avanti la vigna. Era una vigna promiscua dove c'era l'albicocco, c'era la prugna, c'era la pesca e c'era il pezzo di vigna e in particolare c'era la catalanesca che fa parte della storia di ogni bambino che è nato su questo territorio. La catalanesca ha una grande dote, geneticamente è molto produttiva, ecco perché diventa subito l'uva di tutti i contadini dell'areale e soprattutto perché produce una grande quantità di zuccheri. Ora il connubio tra la parte genetica dell'uva con il suolo su cui noi oggi lavoriamo, quindi il vulcano, la cenere che noi troviamo nel nostro suolo, fa sì che quest'uva abbia una grande acidità, tanto zucchero e ha dei vini che sono molto sapidi, minerali che richiamano tantissimo la bevuta. Allora, io penso che oggi quando si parla di vino dobbiamo legarlo strettamente al territorio su cui noi lo coltiviamo. La catalanesca riesce a dare attraverso i suoi frutti, quindi al vino, riesce a dare una grande marker del territorio, una grande territorialità olfattiva e anche gustativa.
5 years ago, I had a kind of an epiphany, I would say, an emesis or a catharsis, call it as you like, all of this thing together, you know, Eros and Thanatos. And I really remember, I think we were in Sorrento, not so far from here. We were in Positano drinking a bottle of wine, and I actually realized we are totally missing the point. I was totally missing the point because, you know, wine as an object means nothing if you don't relate it with a place and a situation.
Absolutely.
You know, we are recreating this kind of a wild Dionysus experience. You know, you can see it looks like Mordor right now. You know, I'm guessing that Bilbo Baggins is actually climbing that area over there. And here, to me, this is the fact that this is the volcano that actually gave the name to Dionysus. And Dionysus is the irrational side of human beings. And even if I'm speaking a lot and you're silent, it shouldn't be like that because it's actually a female experience. Men are too much self-centered. You can see it right now, what I'm doing right now. And they cannot somehow, you know, they see things as objects. They see bottles as objects, you know, 90 points, 98 points, this bottle is better than that one, and they don't care. Would this look like something in between Euripides and Dionysus and Aristophanes and...
Mordor.
Fuck, it's beautiful. And actually, we are the second people that ever been sitting on this
And on
place.
top of it, we're 1 meter behind us. We're a few hundred feet down into a crater, which is pretty wild that we actually got the permission to sit outside of the borders of the fence here. This is, to me, the most epic experience possible that we could be having because we've drank this wine in the vineyards, but we've never drank it actually on top of what birthed the vineyards of Cantino di Vella, which is the volcano of Vesuvius here.
Allora, noi abbiamo deciso di intraprendere la strada attraverso quei vitigni minori proprio perché vogliamo che quando si sta più nella nostra bottiglia si parli del nostro territorio e delle nostre tradizioni. Sapete che cosa succede? Nel dopoguerra la catalanesca viene classificato come semplicemente uva da tavola, perché chi fece il censimento non era di questo territorio. Quindi loro non immaginavano che poteva avere questa grande potenzialità. Pensavano che anche qui doveva arrivare un'influenza di quelli che erano i vitigni internazionali. Ma diciamo che la mia famiglia e quindi io dopo siamo stati più forti a mantenere saldi le nostre radici e abbiamo voluto fortemente capire le uve, quindi la catalanesca, il nostro territorio, quindi la catalanesca, il caprettone o la guarnaccia nera che negli ultimi anni noi stiamo cercando di portare alla ribalta, capire quali erano le loro potenzialità enologiche nella loro espressione enologica. E diciamo che ci siamo riusciti perché è vero che è un vitigno che non ha forse il massimo dell'espressione della parte enologica, ma è un vitigno che riesce fortemente a marcare il territorio, cioè a dare la sua espressione alla forza del territorio su cui noi viviamo.
Catalanesca is, someone says, was coming from Catalonia in the 15th century. Someone says it was one of the favorite wine of the Federico II, so he called it Catalanesca.
Catalanesca, obviously Catalan.
So,
we don't sound so Italian, right?
The Spanish says it was coming from Spain, but you don't find this grape variety in Spain, so probably it's been there.
They haven't traced it yet. They haven't found... Ciro has told us before that they have not figured out the exact DNA. They think it either comes from... the closest they said was it the Douro? No.
Douro, yeah. But the point is, if Dionysus was here, he wouldn't probably give a shit about... He wouldn't give a fish about the grape variety. It's not about the grape variety by itself. It's about, I mean, of course, it's an aromatic grape variety. If you don't plant it here, it will taste like a stupid fruit juice. So the fact that this volcano is giving the soul, what I like, usually, you know, I hate to describe wines, and I think even Dionysus would hate to describe wine. Just get drunk and shut up. That would be the main issue of Dionysus. But in this specific case, to me, we can describe the wine properly because we have this smoky flavor. I know everyone is talking about minerality. It's the most abused word, minerality, after terroir in the last 20 years of sommelier, the wine description. But in this case, we are allowed to say that. So these things are over here. You can, I mean, you don't really smell it
Minerals
here.
are inert.
Yeah, that's right. But I get the smell. I get the smell of lemon. No, the typical lemon from the area. I used to, when we do the wine description or our tasting, I said, yeah, you can smell the volcano, you can smell the lemon, a bit of apricot.
Apricot for sure is what.
Yeah, so then you see that the vineyards are surrounded by lemon trees and apricot trees. The best apricots in the world that come from Mount Vesuvius that are over there. And if you smell it deeply, you can even guess that the winemaker is wearing red shoes, you know, like you exactly locate the wine, you know, that's the thing. And everyone is struggling to try to locate a wine, but trust me, I don't want to speak badly about other wines, so I'm not saying that, you know, Napa Valley is a terrible wine region because they're going to cut it, but the fact that you always miss this concept of locating, you know?
The other thing that I particularly love about this wine was that it was born with the idea of making it as pure as possible. Ciro was already working with in incredible, I mean, look around. The environment is perfect for winemaking here. But the thing that we really, really wanted to do was make as pure of a wine as possible. And with Amphor, we were able to do it because he didn't need to add sulfites. He already works with 80-year-old vineyards, biodynamically, organically. So the wine, to me, was just the synthesis of truly the terroir of where we were. There was nothing taken out, nothing put in.
You forgot about talking about something so important. The only thing you talk about when we talk about wine is...
The roots, because the roots, no.
Because there are no grafted, those vineyards are not grafted.
And it's pre-phylloxera vineyards as well, so yeah.
They're not grafted, they're not pre-phylloxera, which is, I mean, the same concept is about, I mean, Americans brought us in Europe a lot of beautiful things, Chicken McNuggets and Big Mac and Seinfeld, but there is one thing that was slightly bad that actually they brought to Europe is this ugly little insect that actually killed 99% of the vineyards, 1863.
Wasn't my fault.
It was not, no, and 1863, I guess, and that is because the steamboat was able to, the insect was able to survive and killed 99% of the vineyards. So now 99% of the vineyards in the world are grafted on American roots. So every wine is slightly American in Europe right now. This is not necessarily a bad thing, I would say. I wouldn't say that you cannot make a good wine with a grafted vineyard. But I don't want to sound too much rhetorical or romantic. When you have a non-grafted vineyard, there is always a touch, something, that tells you. Think about Etna wines. Think about, the Corinto Nero from Eolia Island and his wines here. And you have these plants that are made with the maritata. How do you say it? Propagine. So the plants, they actually grow by themselves. You take a branch a shoot from the plant, and you put it in the soil and create another plant.
And they can reroot.
Yeah, that's right. It's like Avatar. It's actually the same plant that's spread all over.
What I love about this wine is that it's just a true expression of where we are. There is nothing taken or nothing put in, there is nothing taken out. It's farmed biodynamically, organically, no filtration, no clarification, no sulfites added. And the beautiful thing is that so many of these wines that are made this natural end up having kind of the smell of sulfur and strange reduction smells and all the things that we probably are smelling in the background here. And this wine is so pure. It's so pure.
Try to do this thing. You get it?
Proustian.
Yeah, it's like it, isn't it? I mean, I know that sometimes you feel like when you tell a story about something, you think, what is the reality and what is the story about? At the end, we are all representation. We just have to figure out how spontaneous and somehow plausible and emotionally significant is the story you are telling to yourself and to others. And the fact that we have been passing through all the process of this wine because we suggested Ciro to use the amphora, we have been tasting it, we have been seeing the wine developing. Do you remember we didn't like it at all at the beginning? Because Insuma means also so-so in Italian, and she tasted it. So how is this wine? Insomma.
No, Insuma, I joked, I said Insuma.
Because we were scared, and then we saw this wine growing up month after month. Now it's actually our #1 wine at the cellar.
The other thing too is we have to keep a couple of these bottles because this bottle will last about 10 years. So it'll turn more like Catalanesca turns a bit more like Riesling over time.
At the end, yeah, that
so
guy's like
really
hydrocarburo, gasoline, the style of it. But the issue is, to me, also the fact that somehow I was kind of responsible of this wine makes me feel there is a bit of a child for me and an adopted child. I mean, Ciro made 99% of the job, of course. But, I know the children, Everyone loves their children, even if they're ugly. My precious. This is my precious. Now jump in it, grabbing the bottle of wine like a ring. That will be a nice finish shot. I can't fucking imagine that you brought the sun exactly when I opened the bottle. You are the one. And I spoke too much and I'm sorry, but you are the one. Thank you. Pazzesco, hai portato il sole esattamente quando...
Lindsay porta sole. Lindsay brings the sun everywhere we go.
I know we are surrounded by cameras and it's difficult to be spontaneous in this moment, but trust me, I'm living an incredible moment right now.
And this is a moment where, no offense, like, I don't want to talk about wine. Can we
here.
just sit and take in this moment?